Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 of the Dine Sports YouTube page and podcast network. Thanks again for joining us today. Love to see that our community is growing as our subscribers keep going up there and starting to see some interactions. So keep that up for sure. We've got a great episode for you guys today. We're sitting down with a gentleman who I've had the pleasure of knowing for a very, very long time since he was a youth, and to see the growth that he has had over the last few years at his craft has been really, really inspiring. And we're so thrilled for him to be reaching some of the levels that he is. Saeed Ali is a longtime Ottawa resident. He's been doing tons of work in the community with not only the Boys and Girls Club, but through Lower Town Community Resource Center. And, he is now in the process of actually becoming an Ottawa police officer as well, too. So we're thrilled for that. But what we're really talking about today is his work on the basketball court. And he has been a youth official. He's been a carded official, and he is now actually training the next generation of officials coming up through the systems to referee local games and regional tournaments as well too. So Saeed has actually made it fairly far in the officiating world as well too. He started out just doing house league games and moved up fairly quickly because of the on-court work that he was doing there. He's now regularly doing OFSAA championships. He's been doing that for a few years now, but he's also just sort of gotten the call to the big leagues, so to speak, and he has actually been officiating at the U Sport level and at the college level as well too. So whether it's Algonquin College, Nipissing University, Ottawa U, Carleton, all of that stuff, he's been there and done that, and we're thrilled to see that progress. So he's going to take us in a little behind the scenes look at what sort of that world of very high level officiating looks like. And we're also going to talk also about the fact that obviously officials are such a huge part of the sports landscape, but it's not an easy job. And I say to him at one point in this interview, on a good day no one notices you, on a bad day you're getting stuff thrown at you by crazy parents. So we dive into that and more, and it's a wide-ranging episode, and hope you guys enjoy. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dine Sports YouTube page and podcast network. Joining me today is the one and only Saeed Ali. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great, Kyle. Great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us here. And you can see it on your chest here. We're going to be talking a lot about youth sports. We're going to be talking a little basketball, your journey and everything. And I think the main sort of question is, on a good day, right? People say, oh, I didn't even notice the ref out there. On a bad day, you're getting booed out of a gym, you're getting cussed at, or worse, right? So I guess the first question I would have is, why did you become a referee? It's not for fame and fortune, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's a really easy question for me to answer. It's kind of a funny story of why I started. So I remember I was playing basketball with my friends at the Boys and Girls Club, and someone named Nadine Crowley walks in the gym and comes up to a bunch of us in the middle of our game and says, do any of you guys want to referee basketball? And we all said, no, we're going to keep playing basketball. And then she said, no, but you guys will learn a lot of life skills and communication skills and become leaders and whatnot. And we were still uninterested. And then she said, you will also earn a little bit of money on the side too. And this is us as 14, 15 years old. And when we heard that, like, she caught our attention. And I said, sign us up right away. And my friends and myself, we joined a mentorship program where Nadine and Arash, Rafai, basically teach us, train us, and mentor us and support us in refereeing basketball. And that was me a long time ago, starting about 8 years ago. And I would be refereeing kids younger than I was, and earning money every single Saturday. And it was a great feeling coming home to my mom and showing her that I made 40, 60 bucks or whatever it was, just by blowing a whistle and directing some kids on the floor. And then the passion began.
Right on. And so, I mean, obviously you need to have an innate knowledge of the game, the rules, all of that good stuff there. But aside from knowing the rule book there, what are some of the qualities that, make a good official?
Yeah, it's another great question. I think a couple of the like a couple qualities that are needed in a good official is someone who is hardworking, someone who is willing to accept feedback, and someone who is humble, and someone who is willing to be honest about when you messed up. At the end of the day, we're not perfect. If anyone tells you that they are 110% perfect, and they know basketball in and out and they will never make a mistake on the floor, they should not be reffing, plain and simple. You have to be genuine and just always be ready to do what's best for the kids on the floor, and truly care about what you're doing. And those are just some of the qualities that are needed in officials, and that's almost all of the officials in Ottawa. You'll find those qualities in.
Yeah, yeah, and you touched on it already here. It's how you got started, but you've now sort of taken a leadership role in that youth development program there. Tell us a little bit about the program and sort of what it entails.
Yeah, so this mentorship program, basically, it's a complete, like it's on a volunteer basis for the mentors, and basically, Nadine and Arash would spend countless amount of hours throughout the weeks during the school year, teaching and training us, in a gym, watching us, referee watching us, teaching us how to blow a whistle, because I know it sounds like it's super easy, but it's actually a skill that is developed over time. And they teach us the very grassroots, the fundamentals about becoming a basketball referee. And they really cater it towards more of a mentorship program where you're learning about your own confidence and what it takes to be a leader, and how to communicate with people, because when you blow a whistle, the whole gym is watching you. And as a 14 or 15-year-old kid, and when you blow a whistle and you maybe make a mistake, you're maybe not sure, it's not easy to tell a bunch of parents who are not maybe too happy with you, that this is what I saw and this is what we're going to be doing next. So yeah, so basically it's a mentorship program where adults teach children or teach youth how to referee, and myself and a couple others stuck with it for many years. And I believe it was in 2016, so about 4 years ago, or 2017 maybe, that Nadine stepped back from the program, because if you know Nadine Crowley, you know what she's up to with Basketball Canada and FIBA. So myself and Arash actually run this program now, and it's turned into it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's turned into a great resource for the certified officials in Ottawa, because several of the kids will graduate from our program after 3-4 years in it, and actually referee in all over the city.
Right on, right on. So it's essentially becoming that feeder system into OVBABO then.
Correct, exactly.
Right on.
And it's a great source for kids not only to put their first bit of experience on their resumes while they're in high school, because at the end of the day, it is a job. You have to show up on time. You have to put an effort, because you are being paid. You are being paid by the league, and you do have to do your best and care about what you're doing, or else you will not be given the opportunity to remain in the program, I guess.
Yeah. And, this is certainly not a problem that's unique to basketball. Sports across the board are hurting to find officials these days, right? There's just not enough refs to fulfill the need for all the games that are going on. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so hard to not only train the officials and have them in the system, but also to retain them year after year?
I think that's a twofold answer. Part of it is because the game is growing so fast that there's so much basketball, and it's extremely hard for referees to be doing X amount of games on weekends. And the second part is over the last couple of years of my officiating career, I've certainly experienced it, and almost everyone that I'll talk to has experienced it, where there is abuse of officials in basketball, where we just sometimes get berated by upset players, upset coaches, upset fans, and people have to keep in mind that it's not our number one job. It's something that we do on the side of what everyone else is busy with in their lives, and it's just it's a passion, and they don't do it for the money, in my opinion. The money wouldn't, if people did it for the money, you wouldn't be there. I think the money is a great aspect of it, but you do it for the relationships, and you do it for watching kids grow and watching the game grow and staying a part of the game if you're not playing anymore, if you're not coaching anymore. And unfortunately, I think it's the retention issue is something that has been a factor in officiating basketball for many years. And I think Ottawa locally, like, we're growing in our numbers of officials, and we are seeing the same officials come back, but it's not easy to maintain X amount of officials to service X amount of leagues in Ottawa, especially with the issues that are happening on the floor. That, like, you can be in a gym and like everything could be good, and then boom, just like that, you lost it. You lost the confidence of everyone, the trust, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, yeah, and there's obviously, and again, not just unique to basketball here. You go to any baseball diamond, with a somewhat competitive game going on, the exact same things going on with umpires over there. But there's obviously a lot of work that needs to be done, not only in the high school settings, but also at the club ball levels as well too, and just around spectator or fan interactions with officials, right? Do you think there's anything that a club or an administration could be doing better, or any particular messaging that you'd like to sort of them send out to fans when it does come to abusive officials or anything like that?
Yeah, I think like people just have to take that step back and realize that, like, this isn't their number one thing. Like, they're gonna do their best, and if they make a mistake, believe me that it hurts us a lot knowing it, because it eats at us. Like, we know we made a mistake, and we know that everyone's watching, and we get in our head sometimes. And part of being a good official is just knowing that, like, you got to get the next call right. Like, do your best to get the next call right and forget about what you just did. You can't go back in time. Sometimes you can't reverse a call that you just made. So I think if parents and fans and spectators and coaches can just take that half a second just to realize that, like, that's not an easy call to make. It's a 50-50. And if we're standing in their angle, like, and if they're in our shoes and they're at the angle that we're in and they see exactly what we see, what would they call? Like, it's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes in heated moments when a game's in overtime and it's a championship game, or the game, there's a lot of stakes in the game. We make mistakes. Like, we're human, but I think we do a great job in getting the majority of the calls right, and just taking that half a second to realize that, like, that's a former player, that's someone who loves this game a lot, and they're doing it for a reason. So
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And you just sort of mentioned that coach to official interaction there as well too, right? Um, there's a bit of gamesmanship going on between a head coach and the officials going throughout a game, right? Some of the more inexperienced head coaches will, sometimes try and yell or almost intimidate their way into getting the calls that they want. But for those that are a little bit more, the wily veterans of the leagues, they know that there's an art to arguing a call, right? And so what are some of the things that those really well-respected coaches or those high-end coaches, what are some of the things that they're saying to you when they are, arguing a call or something like that at, say, the university or the U Sport level there?
yeah, I think some of the better coaches, or some of the really experienced coaches, they will know the rules and they will understand, like, temperature of the game and what's going on, and they'll try to work you in a sense where, like, they're trying to get you on their side. So then, if that 50-50 call is going to happen, they're most likely going to get that call because they are in your good books, for example. And I think a lot of the good coaches, or a lot of the really experienced coaches, know how to play the game within the game with officials, and it begins with like the moment they see that referee walk in the game or walk in the gym, excuse me. They can, like, I don't know. Some coaches have that mentality of they have to coach their players, but then they also have to work the referees in order to win this game. And sometimes prior experiences will help a coach, or the if they've been around for this many years and they have that reputation of always hitting the officials like amazingly or not. It's just a thing within the game, and yeah.
And what about from, let's say at the youth level here, kids these days, a bad call, the body language is horrible, right? Their arms are up in the air, they're pouting, they're maybe even arguing directly with the ref there. So what sort of advice would you give to, a youth player of, how to approach a ref, how to sort of, get their case across in, a respectful way, that they're not getting teed up or something, and that, it might actually help them out on one of those 50-50 calls down the line there.
Yeah, the throwing your hands up, the being upset, the swearing, the and all the other stuff that goes with not accepting a call in the best way, or being super upset with it, will not help you one bit. It will not help you on the floor. It will not help you when getting the next call that you want going your way. I think what players should be doing is, if they truly are upset and they truly believe that they didn't travel, or they didn't double dribble, or they didn't step out of bounds or whatever, ask the referee what you saw. And I promise you, I will, if a player asks me, I will answer that player in a respectful way. This is what I saw, this is what you did, and this is the rule on it. Yeah, 2 years ago, now you have a 0-1-2 step. That's why that player got that's why I didn't call a travel on that player who just scored on you, because that's a legal move. The rules are always changing within basketball, and the players just have to honestly have a good rapport with us, and you'll get the exact same thing back from us. And you'll get the calls that you want, and sometimes you won't. It's just a matter of how the game is going and what happens exactly. So just have a good rapport with officials. It goes a long way.
Yeah. And, you've obviously come quite a long way yourself here as well, starting from, the after school boys and girls club, 14-year-old just doing it to earn some extra cash on the side, to, you're now doing it at the college and the university level there, right? So how did you go from, every other Saturday, working 1 or 2 house league games, to that next level? What sort of things did you do to get to the point in your officiating career that you are now?
Yeah, I think what I did was I just showed that I cared. I accepted the advice and feedback from every single senior official that I worked with. I would go out of my way to ask for tips. I would even be the keener that on our website, we can see all the games that are happening in the city, and any game near me where I see a referee who I really like and I want to learn from, I will go and I will simply go watch and sit in the bleachers. And oftentimes if I'm not officiating in the gym, I'm sitting there watching the referees. I don't watch the game anymore. It's weird. I don't watch the game anymore. I watch the referees. I watch their positioning. I watch their body language. I watch their mechanics. And that's just how I am right now. And every single summer I go out of my way, and officials, this is something that I wish people would understand more is, or appreciate, is officials will pay their own money to go in the summer, to go to development camps or referee schools, to go learn from the absolute best in Canada, in the province, in Canada, and internationally. And that's something that I do every single summer. I haven't missed one. This will be the first summer that I do miss one, but that's because of work. But I go out of my way. I go to development camps. I learn. I constantly ask questions, and I constantly try to get better. And another thing that I would love for coaches, I'm sure the coaches know, but I'd like to say it just to get that message really in there, is I practice, and many other officials I know practice at home in front of the mirror. how they look, their mechanics, their numbers, their what they're going to say on a call, and just their tone, their confidence, the whole package. We truly care about. We practice, and that's just something that I've been doing. And fortunately, I've had the privilege of getting a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, and having the opportunity to move up and do higher level games. And it's been a thrill so far.
Yeah, yeah. So very similar to how, a prep school or a college or a university would go and show up to a game to scout players. There on the officiating side there as well too. There are people that are actually show up to games to scout officials to move them up to the next ranks there. Then.
Exactly. Yeah. So in the province, there are provincial evaluators. Well, starting from local basketball, we have in Ottawa, there are evaluators that are constantly helping the officials that we have in our city. And that's one of my goals. I want to be an evaluator in our association, and give back, because I think I'm getting to that level where I have the confidence to talk to a gym full of officials and just teach them what I know and what I've learned, and how my approach is to the game. And so it starts at a local level, and then there are provincial evaluators that at provincial tournaments such as OFSAAs, where I just came back from. In March I went to, before this whole shutdown began. I did my third provincial championship, AAA OFSAA in where was it, in Hamilton. And had a blast there. Did a medal game, and last year I was in Timmins, so I drove 8 hours, and that was an incredible trip. And so I just finished my third provincial championship, and at each of these tournaments there are provincial evaluators constantly judging and evaluating the officials. They videotape them. They videotape the whole play, and then they look at the referees to see why they got that call wrong or why they got that call right. And then again, national level evaluators go watch more provincial tournaments, and then get the officials to continuously move up. And then the highest level of officials in FIBA right now is a FIBA carded official, and we are blessed in Ottawa to have a FIBA commissioner, Nadine Crowley, who is tremendous. And so I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, now that you're at sort of this level, it's far from, show up, change at the gym, blow a whistle a couple times and go home, right? So when you're, let's say, at the U Sport level, what does your sort of pregame leading up to the actual tip of the ball look like?
Yeah, so similar to college, it's not just you walk in the gym and you go. You have to go suit and tie. And I just finished my first year at the U Sports level, and I loved every minute of it because I love dressing up. That's just something about me. I know all my colleagues have to wear suit and ties for their day-to-day lives, but you wear a suit and tie. You get to the gym at least an hour early, or get to the facility at least an hour early, whether it's at Kingston or Nipissing or wherever it is, or Carleton or Ottawa U. You get there an hour early, and then you meet your crew, and you guys, after getting changed, you do an extensive pregame. You talk about what you're going to be doing on the floor. You talk about your approach. You talk about the matchup if these two teams have played each other before, the tendencies of the players, what you share that. You talk about that as a team together, just to get on the same page, because oftentimes at the youth sports level or at the college level, you're working with people that you've hardly worked with before, or you worked with maybe 5 years ago, depending on how long you've been on. You really get into the mentality of it's game time an hour before the game, or 45 minutes before the game, when you're getting ready, and then you jump on the floor 15 minutes before tip off. And I love that part as well, because crowds there, depending on what state gym you're at, and you're running up and down the floor, you're getting sweaty, you're getting ready for the game mentally. And the O Canada, it always gets to me. And then meeting the coaches, a lot of them, it's their first time meeting me, depending on where I'm at. And they're like, who's this kid? Why is he on my game? And I just love hopefully doing a good job where I can build that relationship for the next year and years to come.
Yeah, yeah. Without naming any names here, anyone give you a hard time in your first year there, or were they all pretty?
Nothing out of the ordinary. No, no. I I certainly have a lot to work on at that level, without a doubt, and I certainly plan on getting better and plan on working hard and proving that I really care about this game and care about all the opportunities that I've had, and I just want to remain at this level and keep getting better.
Right on, right on. So, we're talking about youth sports here, and I think we can both agree that, especially probably in, I would say, the last 5 or 6 years, it's come a long way as far as, the marketing of players, retaining top talent, and just the overall competition level. But we've still got quite a ways to go before we're catching up to the NCAA, or that talent gap is still there between us and the Americans right now. What's maybe one or two things that you could maybe think of that Basketball Canada still needs to do to sort of take that next step forward to close that gap a little bit there?
I think we're on the cusp of breaking it. Like right now, Carleton is on an absolute tear. We can talk about the Ravens program for hours and hours and hours. It's phenomenal what they do, and they go to the States. They come back with wins. They have the teams come visit in the summer, and they come back or they win here as well. And they just came off a national championship just again. And I truly believe that basketball in Canada is on the cusp of being on the same level as USA, in my opinion, at least. And we have the players to prove. We have, and players are also staying here locally too. They're no longer as much choosing to go down to Div 1, Div 2 programs. They want to stay here. They want to play at the Ryerson, the Carleton, the Queens, or wherever else. Both men and women. Because we have the programs here that have the talent to keep doing what they've been doing and keep striving towards greatness.
Right on. And so for someone who is interested in becoming a ref, or even having their son or daughter join a youth mentorship program similar to what you went through, what would be your advice to them?
But grab a whistle. We need you, and we will mentor you. We will support you. We will take care of you. We will make sure that this experience is something that you hopefully will hold on to for as long as you are able to run on the floor. We truly need officials. We need more officials in this game. It's growing at a pace that we can hardly keep up with in Ottawa, and in the surrounding area of our city, and do it. It won't be something that you regret. If you like basketball, that's all you need to do. You do not need to know the rules inside out, because you will learn. You will learn by doing. You will learn by studying the rule book online or at home. Do it. Grab a whistle.
And where could people find you, whether it's for an adult or even for the youth mentorship program?
Yeah, so for the youth mentorship program, we are very close to making a website. We keep saying we're going to be doing it, but I really hope we get one going before I head out on my upcoming trip. But certainly by the time that things are somewhat to a normal that we know, we'll have a website going. There's an email that you can reach us at, and I'm hoping you will put it right here or something, Kyle. But
we'll get it up there.
Young Minds Whistles at gmail.com. So youngmindswhistles@gmail.com is an email where you can reach myself and my partner, and we will get kids aged 12 to 17 or 18 in a gym every single weekend, refereeing basketball throughout the school year. And it's a great side hobby, and hopefully it turns into a passion for them. And if for anyone above the age of 18 or 17 or 18, again, right here, ovbabo, ovbabo.ca, or I believe it's .com actually, where you can register, and there's a tab that literally says want to become an official, I believe, and super easy process. And again, we need you. and we will more than happily accept you into the fall or winter training. That's the 2 times of the year that we do trainings, is September and again in the winter typically.
Right on, right on. Okay, before I let you go, though, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you here. What is, and again, you can omit names here for privacy, but what's the wildest thing you've ever seen happen in a gymnasium? Could be parent behavior, could be coach, could be player, could be whatever. Give us one story before we let you go. You
Yeah,
could probably
so
give us quite a few, but
yeah, I have a ton, but just to keep people interested and entertained, there is this one event that happened in Orleans where so I'm officiating there. I'm on my second or third game, and I believe it was halftime or a timeout where we place the ball where the ball needs to come in. Yeah, definitely timeout, because you don't do that for halftime. But we place the ball where it needs to come in, and we players go to their benches, and we meet where at our designated meeting spot. And we're talking about the game, and we come back, and the ball is missing, and we're like, "What just happened?" And this is a U16 game, and the basketball, Wilson basketball, is a nice basketball, and teenage boy was extremely upset and mad at us, and like I believe he cried. He was very upset, and so another ball was given to us, and at the and things are perfect again, and we're going and whatever, right? So at the very next time out, we put the ball down again, and I swear we looked away for like 3 seconds at most. We were just talking as the players went back to their bench, and the ball was missing again, and apparently nobody saw it. And this is at, I believe, Sir Wilfrid Laurier, where the gym it can be divided in half, and lo and behold, it is the players. The first player who's upset with us, it is his little brother, who's like 4 years old or 3 years old, the smallest, cutest kid, who took the ball and ran with it into the other side without anybody looking, and somehow did that twice. And people were not happy with us. People were not happy with the officials, but I swear it had everyone laughing and joking and whatnot. And all was good. And I learned my lesson, because it can be a 4-year-old, or it could be someone who's actually trying to steal a basketball or whatever. Just watch the basketball. It's simple.
So yeah, the little 3-year-old there squirreling the balls away because his brother wasn't getting the calls he wanted then, eh?
Something like that. Yeah, probably.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks very much for joining us there, Saeed. I hope you and your family stay safe and healthy. And yeah, hopefully we're watching you back on a basketball court sooner rather than later there.
Same here, Kyle. It was great seeing you. Thank you very much for the well wishes, and thank you for inviting me onto here. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, anytime. All right. Thanks. And that's a wrap for another episode of the Dine Sports YouTube page and podcast network. Thanks very much for tuning in today. Hope you guys enjoyed that chat with our good friend Saeed Ali there, sharing his insights into the wonderful world of reffing and everything that goes into it. But huge thank you for him for taking the time to sit down and just walk us through sort of what it is like to be wearing the stripes out there. And obviously it's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination, but at the end of the day, we all know if there aren't people who are, volunteering or being paid to referee, umpire, officiate these games, sports as we know it aren't running. So kudos to them for the work that they're doing in the community, and good for him for really making a run of it as well too, and reaching some of those higher ranks. Just a friendly reminder that if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast network there. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We've also got several social media platforms. You can hit us up on there if you've got any ideas for guests or future episodes. Love to hear feedback from you guys at any time. Thanks very much for watching. Stay safe. See you guys next episode.